we've been trained into a system that makes us reliant and compliant so that we won't go out and find our true path and direction and become powerful, become independent, become self-reliant, become the builders and the creators and the warriors that we were born to be. You were meant to build, to create, to defend, protect, to battle. You were meant to do something different than just follow directions, while instead living in a system where we're forced to beg an employer to trade valuable hours of our lives for their dollars so that we can follow directions and call someone our boss and have them determine how much our time is worth, effectively telling us how much our life is worth. And this feeling is something deep inside that you know, but it's almost impossible to put words on, words to. And you know, I'm nearly 42 years old. I come with 19 years of formal education, including 2 years of kindergarten and 5 years to get a 4-year university degree in a field that I should have gone to trade school for. So first I want to preface this with, this is not a bash on educators by any means. I come from a family with 3, I think maybe 4 generations of educators on one side now. Everybody's educated. We've all got bachelor's degrees for multiple generations. There's not a person that has the system more ingrained into them than me. So, it's taken me this long to develop a different understanding perspective, even though I've been trying to escape this matrix for years. I've owned businesses. I've had one foot in the door, one foot out the door, but everything just didn't quite make sense. And when I start to look back, I recognize that this system that everybody is forced into, we're all square pegs being smashed through a round hole. Many of us men are meant to be doing man stuff. We're meant to be out working in the fields. We're meant to be out hunting. We're meant to be out defending and conquering and building homes and building societies and creating and leading our own way and being self-reliant. And that's deeply ingrained in us since birth. But we're in this system that tells us to sit down, be quiet, follow directions, and be a good little girl. And if you do that well enough for long enough, then maybe you can trade your hours for a few more dollars, and maybe you can do something you want to do just a little bit more while you're trading those hours for dollars. And for me, ultimately, I see that as the foundation of what led to a real problem with alcohol. We're all seeking fulfillment in life in some way, and we're told that this is the way to live, and then that we need to go out and trade 30 years of our lives for a mortgage so that we can have a roof over our head, and we're not just wasting our money on rent, getting us further locked into the system, further reliant on the system. And at the end of the day, for many of us, that's extremely unfulfilling. It's painful. It's just wrong, and we know it deep down that it's wrong, but we can't put words to it because it's the way things work. And so for me, I believe that, and for a lot of people, then we try to fill in that emptiness with gluttony, with consumption, with objects, with intoxicants, with alcohol, cannabis, whatever, with vices, because we don't know what else to do. We're out there, we're willing to work as hard as we possibly can. We'll do anything, man. When I'm in the right direction, when I'm pointed in the right direction, I'm absolutely unstoppable. But recognizing that the direction that we're forced into is the wrong direction, it's insanely hard to wrap your mind around if you've gone through the system for as long as I have, if you've got this much formal education, if you've really been indoctrinated into the idea that the way things work is we trade hours for dollars and have somebody else tell us what to do. We have somebody else that calls himself our boss, or maybe you're working for yourself and now you have a client instead, still effectively selling your hours for dollars, but with a little bit more flexibility, a lot more risk. But at the end of the day, for many of us, that still just leaves us feeling empty, no matter how hard we work, no matter how much money we make, no matter how many objects we obtain. And then a lot of us end up leaning on the bottle, playing video games, drinking alcohol, smoking weed, just trying to escape this existence, even though we're in the most amazing country in the world, even though we have the most opportunity in the world here. The way that we're supposed to live can literally drive a person insane. Somebody that has true good potential to contribute to themselves, to the family, to the world. If any of this resonates with you, I've been trying to escape the matrix my whole life, but I didn't quite have the words for it yet. I hadn't yet quantified the fact that the way things work is not the way things are supposed to work. The idea of building my own home on my own piece of land, raising my own food, hunting for my own food, it just brings peace and calm and contentment even thinking about that. And that's part of this mission that I'm pursuing of freedom, is that I am going to own off-grid land with a well. I'm going to have a garden. I'm going to be killing animals and eating them, and doing anything I can to not consume from the system, to separate myself from it, to be self-reliant. And in my mind, being self-reliant and being fit and healthy as a grown man are two of the biggest flexes you can have. Forget about having an amazing car, a huge house, a fancy job title. Being self-reliant and fit, there's nothing better. That's literally a big part of the purpose here that I've been pursuing and trying to define. But those are inward desires, extremely important, but still for myself, I don't want to say selfish, but they're for me. Well, a man needs purpose in life, right? Many people find purpose in raising a family, in their kids. And I'm not saying anything bad about that. I don't think that's a bad thing, but that's not the path I'm on. I don't have kids. I don't feel like I want kids. I've been divorced once. I don't want another girlfriend or wife. I've gotten to the point where I don't really even want to deal with people. I just like myself so much. I'm developing myself on this path, and the people that I want to deal with, I said it in my last video, are either people that I'm influencing to help make their lives better, to get sober and fit and find their true purpose and pursue it, get the guts to pursue it, or people that have obtained a level of success that I'm pursuing and that I can just be around and experience that and have it help influence me to recognize that this is possible and to really help me escape the matrix sooner than later. And as I'm able to stop trading hours for dollars and begin pursuing purpose with that time, there's such a good impact that can be made on the world, made for ourselves, made for your family if you have a family. But it is so darn hard to start seeing things in a different way. And it's crazy. My most successful friends are my least educated friends, because they have been the least indoctrinated into the idea that you have to rely on somebody else to tell you what to do, to provide comfort in life, versus learning how to go out as a warrior and earn what you need to sustain yourself, to survive, to build, to create, to develop the life that you want, and in a way that, let's say something weird happens again like 2020, you're going to be just fine. You're not somebody that was making buku bucks with a fancy job and title and all of a sudden it's gone. You're able to handle your business anyways because you're not reliant on anybody else. The roof over your head, you own. The roof over your head, you own. You built it with your own two hands. So if you've ever found yourself in a place in life where, you are escaping what you feel is an existence that is incorrect for you, and you're doing it through vices, through alcohol, through junk food, through playing video games for hours on end, when you could be using that time to build, develop, create. You're not alone. I think this is something that a lot of us deal with. I think this is a place that a certain genre of us men, millions of us, are dealing with. And one of the things that's kind of helped me figure some of this out, I've got a few influences that I follow, and even though I'm big on the idea of minimalism, just because I think that objects take away from fulfillment a lot of times, they don't add to it. At the same time, creating the individual who has the ability to obtain what they want, when they want, how they want, with cash money, with plenty left in the bank, that is a very admirable goal to aspire to. And I hope that I can help people start to, find their path away from alcohol, away from addiction, into the gym, into fitness, and through those, hopefully start to find your path and purpose. It took me a long time to figure mine out, and thank goodness I've got this amazing element of freedom. I got divorced without kids. We didn't have a mortgage. Man, I escaped free and clear. We didn't have any problems. We just went our separate ways, and there was no real money involved. And I know not everybody's in that situation, but I do know that the biggest barriers between you and that amazing, bright, shining light, that calling that you have deep in you, that individual that you're truly supposed to be, are substances, consumption, and being out of shape and unfit. And I know that once we kill the addictions to drugs and alcohol, once we get in the gym, once we get our nutrition dialed, once we are truly jacked and fit and ripped, and we're not drinking and we're not doing drugs, and we don't have vices, and we don't take days off, and we don't live for the weekends and be good in the week, during the week, and then go to town on the weekends. When you get past all that, it starts to just open up your ability to see the options and opportunities, to be able to start to find what your calling truly is, and to have the confidence that you can go out and you can find that target and you can work towards it and you can achieve it. But you've got to drop the bottle. You got to put down the joint. You got to stop eating the fast food and the pizza, and you got to stop wasting your valuable, productive time playing video games and sitting on Netflix. Start to really seek and search what is your purpose, and put your valuable time into pursuing that purpose. There's so much here, just recognizing that we've been trained into a system that makes us reliant and compliant, so that we won't go out and find our true path and direction and become powerful, become independent, become self-reliant, become the builders and the creators and the warriors that we were born to be. The system does not want that, but I want it for you. I want it for me. And I can tell you one thing, I am succeeding, I'm winning. I haven't succeeded, I haven't won. And whenever I hit the next level, when I feel like I've achieved something, I've achieved this level of goal, that doesn't mean to take my foot off the gas. That doesn't mean, okay, mission accomplished. That just means it's time to step up and start pursuing the next level, the next goal. I see people do this, it's possible. And again, I think, one of the elements that is truly important is to be able to understand and define our material desires, the things that the system has wanted us to work towards. I mean, when I was young, it was, everything, all the cartoons when I was little, they were all just advertisements for plastic toys. And they made you think you needed to have that toy to be happy. But, it didn't matter how cool the toy was, it never made me happy, right? And as you're growing up, it's the same thing, with a bigger, badder, cooler car. You need that, you're going to be happy. Well, it'll be fun for a little while. It'll be cool, but it's not going to make you happy. It's not going to make you content. It's not going to fulfill you in any way. Yet pursuing the individual who is sober, who is fit, who is empowered, who believes in himself, that does at some point achieve the ability to obtain things you'd like, if you'd like them, that's okay. As long as you're pursuing the individual that can do that and not the objects themselves. And if that object is gone, if those objects are gone, the individual is the same. the habits are the same, the way you live is the same, regardless of what you own, you've obtained. You know, if you followed along on my story, the individual I wanted to become was self-reliant, was someone who has the ability to go where he wants to go and can survive. And you know, I spent 8 years developing my circumstance to get to this point, to where I'm now currently living on a beach in California, paying almost no money to do it, but I'm doing it in a very primitive and somewhat uncomfortable way compared to what most people know. But I'm real proud of it, because it was my vision, it was my mission, and it was the beginning of everything that I have to come in this life. That's everything that this has been leading to. You know, I know there's something much deeper for me, and if you followed me into this video this far, I know that you know there's something deeper for you. It took me years worth of development to create the circumstance where I could do this. It took over a year to figure out the vision, just that I needed to hit the road and do this in this manner, just so I could define and find my purpose. This stuff doesn't happen overnight. I am 34 days shy of 1,000 days of fitness and nutrition. I'm around 260, 270 days alcohol free, a little over a month without weed, you know, and I mean, it's just amazing. This stuff just keeps compounding. You get into the gym, then you get a little better, then you eat a little bit better, and you start trying to quit drinking, and then you end up quitting drinking. And the next thing you know, I didn't know I wanted to stop smoking pot, and now I've quit smoking weed, and man, life is a whole lot better. My mind's clearer. I'm proud of it. You know, there's nothing that's going to stop me. Nothing's going to stop me. So, you know, that's become my purpose in life, is to help others get in the gym, get fit, drop the vices, and find their purpose. And there's people that I still follow. You know, a lot of this message is one that I've learned from others. You know, a couple of my tops are Bedros Keuilian and Wes Watson. You know, I get teary-eyed even bringing the names up, because I found these guys on day one when I stepped into the gym, when I was so broken. I was fat, I was lost, I had no self-belief, no value, no self-value, and they had a message that truly resonated. You know, but I think I deliver that message a little bit differently. I'll resonate with different people, and I sure as heck don't intend to compete with the people who have shown me the light, but rather to help contribute towards that mission, to raise all of us up, to bring other men up, to help us all escape alcohol and to get fit and to find our purpose and do something of true value, and not just spend our lives trading hours for dollars just to make somebody else money, so we can then go out and spend that money on objects that don't matter to make somebody else more money, and then we're old and we're dead. There's something more in this life for all of us, and I'm not going to accept anything different for myself. I've finally defined my purpose. It's only happened within the last month or so. Maybe I'll leave a link to that video here or put a card up or something. And to put it into words, my purpose is to pursue adventure and freedom while inspiring men to get sober and fit. That is what I'm doing with my life. That came out of getting sober and getting into the gym. It took me years to create that one sentence. And now I've got a purpose. Now I've got a reason to exist. And if that resonates with you, then I'm doing exactly what I'm supposed to be doing right now with my life. If you're a man ready to make your comeback, join the Kombaxx community on Discord.